our play is George Armistead,
defender of the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome to the Smithsonian Museum of American History, home of Old Glory, our Star-Spangled Banner. In order to appreciate how we came to have this cherished national symbol, we need to look back in history of the War of 1812. Some call it the Second War of Independence. You see, the United States were a loosely formed group of 15 states at the time. England would look at these and board our ships and take our sailors and citizens from them. That was called imprisonment. This angered many Americans, especially the war hawks, who were the people in Congress who favored war with England. President Thomas Jefferson tried many ways, like embargoes, blockades, tariffs, and negotiations, to avoid another war with England. But each failed in due course. So, when President James Madison was elected president, he sided with the war hawks and declared war on England in 1812. Partly because England was busy fighting Napoleon in Europe. So in manifest destiny, a belief that God was directing us to expand on our nation, we invaded Canada and part of Spanish Florida. But how does history lay flag displayed here today? Well, it came about because of Lord Francis Scott.
I object. You missed a great deal of the story as well as the individual whose legacy this is.
And who are you, sir?
Well, I'm Francis Scott Keen. I've come back to set the record straight. Everyone hears my song and sees the flag and credits me. But the true hero for these two American icons is Major George Armistead. What? You never heard of him? Well, let me tell you. The War of 1812 was not going so well. But he invaded Upper Canada and even made it to the capital of York. Truth be known, our boys burned the place. The Canadians fought back and made a pact with what they called the First Nations. Those savages. They retook all the land we had gained and pushed their way clear through what today is Michigan, Ohio, and the surrounding states. Captain Armistead fought in some of those battles and noticed the disorganization between our country's regulars, which is our small pig military, and each state's militia. We didn't really have a navy, just 4 ships. So we used privateers, private merchant ships given the night to harass enemy ships. After some disastrous battles along the Great Lakes, George returned to Maryland and was given command over Fort McHenry, the fort just outside of Baltimore, our country's 3rd largest city back then.
Attention! Now that I'm in charge, we need to get organized. It's already June 1814. First, we need to strengthen our defenses here, but chop those 2 tiers so they will not be so vulnerable. We need 60 more cannons for the wall tops. That takes care of the fort, except the flag. I will need to coordinate with General Smith in charge of the land forces.
Sir, aren't you related to him?
Yes, through marriage. He and I agreed that we need to coordinate our efforts to win the failures of past battles. Take this to him and see if there is any word from Washington. Oh, and tell him that we are ready, except that we have no suitable ensign to display over the Star Fort. And it is my desire to have a flag so large that the British will have no difficulty in seeing it from a distance.
Yes, sir.
I know that flags are only used to identify ships and forts, but I don't want any doubt left in the British minds. I want the biggest flag ever built. I think 30 by 42 ought to do the trick. Mary Pickersgill, seamstress in town, should be able to build one that large.
Captain Armistead, sir, I have just received report from General Smith. The British have burned Washington City. Luckily, President Madison escaped with all his advisors. It says here that his wife, Dolly Madison, was very brave and refused to leave the president's home without saving a portrait of General Washington. It has begun. Their British armada of 50 ships and land forces are coming for Baltimore.
They want me to defend this city and this nation from the world's biggest navy. Now that the Napoleonic War is over for England, they will bring everything they have at us. Especially because most of the privateers came from Baltimore. I have an idea. We need to put a notice in every Baltimore paper. We need to record for young men for enlisting. They will be given $40 and 160 acres of land.
Yes, sir, I'll go at once.
Now I must ask the merchant sailors and privateers to make the ultimate sacrifice of our defense. If the British sail into the bay or overrun the fort, Baltimore will be lost. I have to stop them. If I create a barrier at the mouth of the bay, I can probably stop the British Armada, and then they'll have to contend with us in Fort McHenry. Oh, I do wish the powder magazine had been bomb-proof. I better keep that secret.
Well, the British did September 11th, the day that will live in infamy. Frustrated that they cannot easily sail into the harbor after burning through Washington, the British began a furious bombardment to the fort. Our guns were not able to match the range of their bombs and fell far short of our target. They did help repel several attempts to scale the walls and overrun the fort, though. How do I know all this? Well, you see, here's where I come into the story. I, Francis Scott Key, was at one of those British ships, as negotiating for the release of Dr. Beans, a friend who had been unjustly imprisoned. After I had secured his freedom, the British would not release us until after the attack, lest we spoiled their surprise. So you see, we were forced to passively watch as the future of our nation was decided. The attack lasted for 25 hours, and the British sent over 1,800 bombs against the fort, bravely defended by Major Armistead and his men. All we could do was wait and pray that the flag would still be there in the morning. At daybreak the next morning, a quiet filled the air. I looked downstream to see the most inspiring sight, a gigantic flag raised over the fort. Such a splendid ensign. I was so inspired by their actions with a feeling of national pride that I quickly wrote down some new lyrics to a popular pub song in an envelope in my pocket. These lyrics soon were sung all over Baltimore as homage to Armistead and his men, and then throughout our nation. I think it became so popular because it embodied the patriotism we had lost since the Revolution. This victory and the ensign, both legacies of Major Armistead, turn the tide and awaken the pride in our country.
That's right. If we had lost this battle, we might have lost the war. And if we had lost the war, we might have gone back to the British Empire. And then we might have lost Australia. And then we'd be sitting around drinking tea at 3.
That's right. Because we did not fall, we continue as a free country. Our infant nation has been tested, met the test. The War of 1812 would end that year with the Treaty of Ghent, another legacy due in part to Armistead.
Thank you.
Armistead died just 3 short years later. Who knows what other legacies he could have left, as the war heroes of 1812 produced several presidents in sight, like Jackson, Harrison, and Tyler. The flag was given to Armistead's family, who shared it with our nation until it was donated to the Smithsonian because of the national identity it inspired. As for the national anthem, my song was going to fill that role just prior to World War I, when we were again switching from patriotism and national symbols. But I continue to say, as I've said many times, the legacy of the song and the ensign, both legacies of Major Armistead. I was just a passive observer of his actions, and the legacy belongs to him. So I give you Major George Armistead, defender of the land of the free and home of the brave.
questions while you're doing that. And I was just wondering why you guys chose this.
Well, kind of started with me because last year when my sister went to nationals, we got a chance to go to Fort McHenry, and I came home thinking, wow, that was really fun. And then I wanted to do NHD, and Alex said he wanted to do it with me, so I said, well, this is the topic I wanted to do, and he said, that's pretty cool. And then, so we picked our topic and began our research with some movies that gave us the basic understanding. And then we kind of got into the deep stuff with, like, detailed books and lots of video and more books and internet.
You think your visit to Fort McHenry really kind of
Yeah,
gave you an insight of what was exactly going on?
yeah. Because we got to go inside, like, the powder magazine, we got to see an unexploded bomb, we got to see part of the bomb, and we got to see all that cool stuff over there.
Where did you guys find this flag with
Internet.
eBay? Exactly, yeah.
Oh, and off of the internet, we also found the battle plans, like the layout of
Yeah.
the fort.
Then we also
And-
found a picture of the actual battle plans that
Yeah.
the British had.
Like
That
ships
Fort
sailing.
McHenry saw, and that's why they wouldn't let him off the ship.
How did you guys decide who was gonna be who?
Well,
I
I
was-
like music myself, so I decided I wanted to be Princess Scott.
Yeah, and I really like them.
What was the hardest part about creating this?
Probably figuring out how to work the flag. Because first we had some yellow string instead of this line, and then we're just like, I don't think they had yellow plastic string in 1812. But the still mechanism trying to make it go up and down in our performance of the
What's hard
then
part?
writing the play was the hardest
That
part.
would be my questions. How did you translate all your research into performance? What was the hardest part about doing that?
Probably combining all the funny stuff with the information.
What was the most important resource?
Probably Fort McHenry, or we also had an email interview with the master history person at Fort McHenry through the email. And he sent us, we had a book, and he sent us an extra copy to give to our school library.
And you're Alex, right? Yeah. Did you feel like you missed out by not getting to go to Fort McHenry last year?
Yeah.
Hopefully once we make it to national school.
Yeah.
What do you want us to take from this? What's the?
Probably that it was Armistead who really was the true hero of this. Because lots of people think of Princess Scott Key as the person, but really, it should be Armistead.
Thank you.